and then get the ball back with a little over a minute to go and score yet another touchdown to go up 38-0 at the half. In the second half, LSU's reserves flooded the field, and the Tigers scored every time they touched the football again. 3 of the 4 drives resulting in touchdowns for the final 62-0 final. There's not a lot to be gained in games like this for the favorite, and unfortunately we see a lot of these in college football. For LSU, everything that you do well in a game like this comes with the but it was against a team that you were much, much better than. Anything that goes wrong is of course, for major alarms. Fortunately for LSU, virtually nothing did go wrong tonight. Very, very little went the opposite way. Army has put a number of good teams on the field in the last 10 years. This is one that they are in a rebuilding. They're in a transition in offensive philosophy, and they simply did not have the manpower to go with LSU tonight. So for the Tigers, they wanted to go out and seize control of the game, put it away early. When you play an opponent that is this big of an underdog, the last thing you want to do is give them hope with a turnover or some sloppy play, and LSU didn't do that. The only thing that was in doubt, say, 8 minutes into the game, was what the final score would be. So then the other thing is you want to get a lot of young people some time, and they did that. And you want to get out of the game injury-free, and unfortunately they didn't do that. They lost Zy Alexander late in the first half to what looks like it could be a significant injury. He was able to put very little, if any, weight on that ankle at the end of the first half when they had to take him out. So that will be a blemish on what was otherwise a pretty perfect night in Tiger Stadium. And like I said, a lot of pageantry around the game with the parachuting and the alma maters and the end zones painted, and all of that was great. But this was not much of a matchup on the field. Rich, they get into the break with almost exactly what they wanted. Had Alexander not gotten hurt, this would have been a perfect night. Everything else pretty much went LSU's way.
No doubt. That's the only blemish on the night. I mean, I was out there for pregame. Awesome atmosphere.
Yeah.
The LSU fans, what they did, everybody was so welcomed. Everybody had, American flags flying from their tailgates. They had Army memorabilia on the tailgates. It was really cool. It's the first time I've seen that. I guess the first time it's happened in Tiger Stadium. But it was an awesome atmosphere. But like you said, the game, the game was the least entertaining part of the day.
Yeah, there wasn't much to this. Jaden Daniels, in his half, worked through for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brian Thomas had 3 catches for 122 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Neighbors with almost identical numbers, 4 catches for 121 and 2 touchdowns. Thomas and Daniels hooked up for
best play of the season so far.
One of the top 5 plays in longest plays in LSU history.
Just watching it, that is the most NFL play you've seen. I mean, that's the best throw and catch I've seen all year long. And it happened in this game. Just the way that he rolled out, the way he threw it. I mean, it's a fingertip play. I mean, it is such a precise play that happened, and for Thomas to make that play, it was awesome.
Daniels was flushed out to his right, and it looked like he was no more than a few feet from going out of bounds when he flicked that ball down the field. As a former receiver, how hard a catch is that to make from where Thomas was to where he caught the ball?
People don't understand why I'm talking about that's the best play of the season, because that is the hardest ball in the world to catch. Once the quarterback gets out behind you, like, you got to think about angles. You're used to seeing a quarterback from the middle of the field, and you have about a 45-degree angle on the ball. When he gets behind your back and he throws that ball, just trying to track it over your shoulders and catch it with your fingertips, I mean, that was a tough catch, but I mean, that's an NFL throw and catch right there.
Everybody, pretty much everybody on the roster, I think, played tonight. Omar Spates was back. Well, he's back last week. He led the team in tackles. Like I said, other than Alexander's injury tonight, this was a perfect night of football.
Kind of. I want to see more Caleb Jackson. I just want to see him bad in the second half.
He got a couple of carries.
I fell asleep at halftime. I woke up about 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter, and I was drinking an energy drink, trying to get excited. I was like, I'm ready for Caleb. I want a whole quarter of Caleb, and I never got to see it.
No, you got to see Trey Holly,
which he surprised me. I mean, I knew who he was. Man, he's got. I thought he was kind of a bulky back, a guy that was going to get in there short. Mm-hmm. He's got some wheels.
No, he popped along.
He popped a long one. And when I saw him break down, I was like, man, I did not know he had speed like that. So that's exciting for the future as well.
So LSU gets into the break at 6-2. Alabama rallied from a 20-7 halftime deficit
Tennessee
to beat Tennessee.
Blew that.
Well, more than somewhat.
Oh, my God.
So it sets up the showdown in Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks for command in the SEC West. You'll forgive me for not exactly including Ole Miss in this for the moment because they still got to go to Athens. Yeah. But they're certainly right in the thick of things.
Auburn blew that one too. I mean, God dang it. All the upsets the people I wanted to lose today didn't happen for me.
USC lost.
Okay, other than that one. That one was good.
North Carolina lost.
I didn't care about that one. I wanted USC to lose. I wanted Ole Miss to lose. I wanted Alabama to lose.
Tell you who else is trailing right now is the number 5 in the nation, Washington Huskies.
I'd be happy for them to lose too.
Well, it's 7-3 Arizona State at the half. I don't know that Arizona State's going to win the game.
Talk about 7-3. Mississippi State and Arkansas.
You want to talk about ugly?
That's the ugliest thing I've seen.
Well, what I wanted to tell you though about that's at least somewhat interesting about the Washington game is that Michael Penix turned the ball over 3 times in the first half.
Okay, I didn't see that part.
Your Heisman front runner right now had 2 interceptions and a lost fumble, so he's not having – I thought that Washington would have a little bit of a hangover after that emotional win against Oregon. I didn't really necessarily think
that big of one.
Yeah, but
that's tequila hangover.
Look, not that they're going to lose this game, but it was the sloppiest half of football that Washington has played all year. And Arizona State, who is 1-5, has now given 3 or 4 opponents all they want. No. They're not the most talented roster up and down, but they'll fight you. And they've got the lead up in Seattle right now. We'll keep you up to date on that game. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBarish hotline. Like to hear from you. LSU wins it tonight 62-0. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues as LSU wins it tonight 62-0. 499-9898 is the number on the LeBarish hotline. We start with Mike in New York. Mike, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Once again, great game today. Really excited after tonight's performance. So kind of looking ahead, like, let's say we go into Tuscaloosa, take the victory. Is Saban hanging it up after this season?
I wish.
I don't think that the LSU game has anything to do with Nick Saban's future. But I will tell you, he's doing some very non-Saban thing. I said this before today.
You said this before.
From the Pat McAfee media availability to the purchase of that $17 million house down in Jupiter to after today, I don't know if you saw this, okay? He's got a cigar. You ever see Saban with a cigar?
I saw the interview. He said, I don't smoke them, but I'll chew on it for a little while.
And he went over to the student section. He's got his cigar. He said, man, this is fun, this up and down season. I was like, who are you and what did you do with Nick Saban? He's just not acting the way he normally does. Does that mean that he is, enjoying the last year because he knows it's the last year? Or is he just older and a little bit more mellow? I don't know.
He might be put on some medication.
I just know that this is not the same guy that I have watched for most of his career that has been known to scowl and be aggravated as the clock ticks down on a national championship, and he just didn't want to get doused with the Gatorade. So maybe not. But I will say, if he's made up his mind and he's just not telling anybody, the outcome, I don't think the outcomes of any of the remaining games have anything to do with it. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think Saban is sitting there going, if we win it, I'll quit. If we don't, I'm coming back, or vice versa. I think he's made up his mind one way or the other. And the likelihood is he'll probably be back. He's a young 71.
Yeah.
He is still coaching and recruiting at an elite level.
No, he's not a guy, like, to your point, there's no emotional swing that's going to make him say, I'm done. I mean, no. Nick Saban is a tactical person. Like, if he decided it was his last year, he decided that before the season started.
And it wouldn't be because of the state of the current, in my opinion, wouldn't be of the state of the current team, wouldn't be about a recruiting class that's coming in. It would be about he just no longer enjoys coaching the way he once did because of the way the transfer portal is set up, the way NIL is set up. There was a reason he didn't stick around the NFL very long. Yeah. He wasn't wild about how teams were assembled, and he wasn't wild about the amount of control players had. Well, the college game is a lot closer to that now than it's ever been, and I don't think that's exactly the way he would draw it up. And maybe he's decided, you know what, I'm going to take one more spin around this merry-go-round, and then I'm headed to Jupiter Island, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do next, but I'm done with this. I don't know if any of that's going to happen. He could coach for another 10 years because he's not, like I said, some of the coaches that we've seen in their 70s will get in there and they'll be figureheads of the program. They no longer coach very much in practice. They no longer.
I told you my recruitment by Bobby Bowden.
Tell a story.
I mean, Bobby Bowden.
Tell a story.
When I was getting recruited by Florida State, it was a school that I was very heavy into. I was going there. I showed up for spring practice. I mean, this is a full spring practice, and they're like, "Oh, no, Bobby's playing golf today."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, wait, the head coach isn't even here?" And they're like, No. He still comes around for like the big scrimmages and the games, but Bobby's playing golf today. Just we're over here. You hang out with the Mickey Andrews. You hang out with Mickey Andrews. I'm like, that was the most insane thing to me. I'm like, wait, the head coach isn't at practice today? So that's when you're talking about just a figurehead at that point.
And if Saban wanted,
I don't see Saban ever wanting to do that.
No, he wouldn't. No. If he wanted to, he could.
Yeah.
He's certainly got the stature. He can do whatever he wants over there. But anyway, no, it's different to see him like this.
It is. But I don't see. I see it like if there's a challenge, like if they're having a bad year, to me that's a bad look. I think he's coming back because he loves a challenge. He wants to be better. He wants to make things better. When I see Saban going out, I see it going out on a high note to where he's done everything he can.
And see, I don't think it matters to him. When he decides he's going to go whether they're winning or losing. And look, they're 7-1. This is a bad season over there.
We're talking about Alabama's falling off, and they're 7-1.
Yeah, they lost to Texas, who's pretty good. Did have to hold off Houston today. 499-9898 is the number. Steven is in Crowley. Steven, welcome into the show.
Hi, guys. Again, thank you for helping me stay awake on the way home. I'm going to try to dodge some of that Rice Festival traffic on my way in.
All right.
Man, my stomach just dropped when I saw Alexander leave the field tonight. We haven't exactly had the most stability in the backfield. We're finally getting some things together back there, starting to play with some consistency with Zy and Sage in there, and then all of a sudden we're losing the guy that's been our steady guy all year long. What's going on with Denver Harris? Does anybody even know where Deuce Chestnut is? And what's our situation going to be at corner now that this guy's out? And what's our hope for the future there? I mean, we have no idea how bad this guy's injured, and it's fortunate we got a bye week coming up, but it kind of makes me sick thinking that we were kind of thin there already, and here we are even thinner now.
I can't I don't have anything that's going to make you feel any better. I never know if Denver Harris is going to play or not, so
we don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine. I would be shocked if Deuce Chestnut reemerged. He's not. Brian Kelly called him on Thursday. He said he's inactive, and I really wish somebody would have asked him, what does that mean? It's not like the NFL where you're on the roster, but you're inactive on game day.
Is he going to class? Is he not going to class?
Where
is he on campus? Is he eligible?
Put it this way, I don't expect him to play anymore.
Not at this point.
I mean, maybe he could. They're leaving the door open maybe, but I would be very surprised if we saw him again.
I mean, it's a different style of coaching. Like I've played with guys who were suspended. I played with guys who knew that they had to track back. Everything we hear about him saying, we don't know if he's on the team, off the team. Will he be back?
He's inactive.
Inactive. Does that mean that he's still got to go to class? He's got to he's got to pass over 9 hours to be able to play. We have no clue what's going on with the guy.
I'm not expecting him to play.
No, and like with Denver Harris, that's a week-to-week basis. We don't know if they're on good terms, bad terms. Did he do what he was supposed to? Did he not do what he was supposed to? I mean, because the week before he didn't play a lick. Last week he started, played the whole game. This week we didn't see him.
He didn't play.
We never know what's going on.
He didn't make the participation chart, so he didn't even sneak in there when we were not like. Guys, I don't know. It's like what the off-field workers used to work, 7 on and 7 off. It's like Denver has 7 on and 7 off. I got no idea.
A fireman.
499-9898 is the number. Carla is in Walker. Carla, welcome into the show.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, Carla.
Statement and a question. I am very impressed tonight with our defense. I mean, 2 interceptions, 3 knockdowns, attacking the ball, My question is, Hanny, is this because of Mr. Pete?
Because of what?
He got Mr. Pete Jenkins?
Oh, yeah. Pete Jenkins has made a difference. There's no question about it. From some of the schematic things that they've done to
you see it Mason Smith all day long.
Yes.
He's gotten better ever since Pete got involved.
Richard, you can speak to some of the techniques and some of the hand movement that you've seen up front.
I mean, we talked about my biggest problem with Mason was, first of all, his endurance. He wasn't in shape when he first got in, which we understood. He missed a lot of camp. Then when he got in, he was playing high. He played really high. People were getting underneath his pads. He's playing with the best pad level he's played all year. In the last couple of weeks, His hands are more active. I mean, if you look at the whole line, that's one guy that you can say Pete Jenkins made a difference in, and he's made a huge difference in the last couple of weeks.
I was pleased with the defensive effort tonight. I mean, Army wasn't able to do very much of anything, but again, you have such a physical edge here. I mean, the speed edge. Army didn't have their strong quarterback tonight. On top of everything
playing a
else.
true freshman at quarterback. Got
God
a couple
bless.
of
They threw for
receptions.
42 yards.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm delighted the way they play. This is how they're supposed to play. That's what I said in the open was there's not a lot for the favorite to gain in a game like this because everything you do good, it's but
You're
what else
supposed to
can
play
you do?
great in these games.
They can't play, and they did. They won
Yeah.
62-0. I mean, they can't. There's nothing that they can do tonight that is going to give them any points against Alabama.
In these games, the things you do wrong are way more highlighted
Yeah.
than the things you do right.
Right. If you do something wrong in this game, it's going to be, well, I mean, you do
Against
this
Army,
right?
that's how you played? I mean, that's how it's looked at.
And the teams, we should know this by now, but we talk ourselves into it. They don't play exactly the same every week. Watching Tennessee against Texas A&M, I saw an offense that couldn't get out of its own way for most of the game. And then they show up in the first quarter and a half against Alabama. They look pretty good, and they build a lead.
Yeah.
And then the second half, they go right back to looking like the inept group that they were for most of the game in Knoxville against A&M. So,
and I'll tell you the one thing I was wrong all week. I thought that they were going to be a little sluggish in the first quarter.
They weren't.
They played. They came in ready to roll from down one.
499-9898 is the number to call. We are brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Listen, if you're in for any of the tailgate parties in the month of November, 3 more LSU games, pick up some Supreme Rice at your local AG food stores, your Walmarts, or your Rouse's. You can stop by Rouse's on your way in for pregame. The brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine. It's a perfect complement to any meal. So if you're making jambalaya, red beans and rice, or we get into the month of November, we get some cooler weather, maybe a little bit of gumbo, make it with Supreme Rice. And support our Louisiana farmers down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. Not only are you helping these Louisiana farmers, you're helping future generations because they are part at Supreme Rice of the Climate Smart program, which encourages emissions reductions, and it will promote water conservation. So look for the Climate Smart packaging on your Supreme Rice products. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play. Looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Running Boards marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
98.1.
Eagle on 8.1 Game Day continues. Tigers win it tonight by a score of 62-0. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. John is in Baton Rouge. John, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How y'all?
Good, John.
Hey, listen, I would just want to say a couple things. I was at the game last weekend, and I got cold, but tonight it was real good.
Okay.
But listen, I think the Tigers – this game played with more poles than they ever did the whole season. And let me tell you what I saw. They played real good fundamental football. They was very comfortable in their positions, and they executed real good. Now, listen, I think this defense might be in a position where we can kind of say they didn't got across the hump now. So it's all about the rest of the season.
All right, John. I appreciate the call. They're better now. There's no question.
Where they've been better was
now.
against Auburn and Army. So there's a lot of questions still going forward.
Okay, but hang on a second. Let's go back 2 games to Missouri. After the first 3 drives, they settled in, and they played pretty good football the rest of the way. I mean, again. Pretty good football is somewhere in the vicinity of average. All right, it's all I got to be with this offense. Missouri's looked pretty good since then. Okay, Missouri's 7-1. Missouri's putting plenty of points on the scoreboard. So I actually take more out of that than I do maybe out of the last 2. With that, in retrospect, that looks a lot better now than maybe we realized at the time.
Yeah, I mean, because I told you during the podcast Monday, I felt really good about the Auburn performance, and then I heard the stat that we were the first Power 5 school to let Auburn throw for over 100 yards.
But just barely over 100 yards.
Barely over 100 yards. We're still the first Power 5 school to do it. But I feel like they're playing more confident. I mean, everybody looks you're not seeing the guys throwing their hands up in the air trying to figure out where things are going on.
Right.
Everybody looks more in sync. Everybody's playing well. You're not seeing the big mistakes. So they're definitely playing better. But, I mean, we're talking about an Army offense and an Auburn offense in the second half of the Missouri game. There's still a full game we'd like to see.
Now tell me if I had showed you, if I'd been able to peek into the future and show you that stat that they put up tonight about how often Harold Perkins is in coverage. If you show me that a month ago, I'm like, that's it. No, I mean, I give up because there's no way. But he is taken to that
How
position.
well is he playing in coverage?
Yes, and it allows them, we talked about this in pregame, Gordy brought this up, that when you play him in that nickel Sam, it makes his pass rushing more unpredictable. And
that's what we've been saying the whole time. We said it on the podcast. We said it the week before. When he's playing out there on the edge, we got to a point where Harold Perkins, he was either playing in coverage or he's lined up on the edge and he was rushing, and everybody knew what he was doing. Now when he's playing in that nickel Sam package, he's lining up in the slot. You never know if he's in coverage or coming, which makes it way more unpredictable, which makes him more successful.
Washington just turned the ball over again.
I saw that.
Wow. They're really having a hard time up in Seattle right now. 499-9890 is the number. Scott is in Denham Springs. Scott, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Hey, I got a question. So I would say that the Missouri game, we would say second half, that the defense stepped up better. The whole Auburn game, we would say that. And we're looking to grow upon that, right?
Yes.
And so I was listening to Mascona, and he had Ryan Clark on last week, and he asked Ryan Clark point blank, what can this defense progress against this Army offense? And Ryan Clark said absolutely not. Like, there's no way we gain anything. He said, in fact, the corners might as well come watch the game with me. And then either later that day or the next day, he had Leikacher on, and Leikacher disagreed just a little bit and said, hey, if nothing else, we got the front seven that's going to do their thing and have to, stay at home, and confidence. They can get confidence. So I guess what I'm asking is, did this game right here against Army, did this give us anything moving forward against an SEC opponent when it comes to our defense?
Not very much.
I'm going more with Ryan on that.
Yeah, me too.
I've never played a team that was inferior that made me feel better. I mean, no matter what you did when you played an inferior team, like we said, your negatives are exploded and your positives mean nothing. I mean, that's just how you feel when you're playing these games. I mean, you go out there expecting to dominate 100%. I mean, there's nothing that you gain from playing an inferior team. I would say it's better for the younger players. Like your second, third team, they build confidence. Your starters, they're not building any confidence in a game like that.
The biggest positive I can take out of it for the defense is that there weren't some of the fundamental things that would have raised flags.
No.
Like they would have missed a lot of tackles tonight, which they didn't do, or they would have busted a coverage or two, even against if they would have busted a coverage, even if the quarterback would have sailed it out of bounds. It's like, hey, man, they got guys running wide open all night. You didn't have that.
No.
You didn't have any of those things. But there's not anything that they're going to bring schematically or, from this game to the Alabama game. All you can do, think of it like a political candidate that's trying to carry their home state. You can only get an as expected, okay? You're supposed to win. If you lose, then it's a disaster. But if you win, it's just like, okay, that's what this is. LSU carried their home state tonight, and that's all you can do. But no, this is not going to help them against Alabama at all.
There's never been a time when I played in a game like this where I lined up against a DN, I pancaked him, and I was like, I got better today. It's like I was supposed to do that.
These games are, I'm sorry, but they're a no-win situation mostly for the favorites.
100%.
There's very, very little that you can bring out of it. But you got to win, okay? That's good.
Like I said, I mean, to me,
nothing wrong with that. I mean,
as
it's
a
great.
fan, the best thing about today was the atmosphere around the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool atmosphere. It was awesome to be around. It was awesome to see all the Army fans walking around with the West Point shirts around.
It's great.
It was, the tailgating atmosphere was amazing. The way everybody interacted to get together. It was a cool atmosphere. The game is over.
And you can tell in these games most of the time if there is a possibility of an upset brewing. You'll see a sloppy turnover, maybe a special teams bust or something.
You see it early, too.
Teams just go out there and they're flat. Washington tonight could not be – they are playing a 1-5 team. They are off their biggest win probably in 15 years or more,
Yep.
okay? They got the favorite for the Heisman Trophy, and they're sitting here 3 minutes into the third quarter with 4 turnovers, and they're down 4 points to a team that they should be beating.
Blowing out.
And they'll probably win this game, okay? But that's what these upsets look like, okay?
Right.
Tonight, North Carolina, who was undefeated, was a 24-point favorite against Virginia, and Virginia scored first, and it's like, okay, maybe that was a fluke. And then it was 14-14. It's like game on, and North Carolina let them hang around long enough, and Virginia beat them.
Yeah.
This game didn't have any of that. This game was over at 14-0.
And this is what we were talking about. Like I said all week, I feel a sloppy first quarter, and that didn't happen tonight, which just shows the focus of the team.
We're brought to you in part by AJ's Sports Cards on Drusilla. Just off of Drusilla, open from 9:30 to 6 Monday through Friday. Saturdays from 9:30 until 2. Football, baseball, and basketball cards, and a good variety of Pokemon cards as well. New products coming in every single week, and some very high-end products are in stock. If you're a collector, all the supplies you'll need, like cases and sleeves, are available at AJ's. And here during the month of October, they're running a silent auction with proceeds going to the American Cancer Society. You can bid on a Dylan Cruz signed LSU helmet, an Angel Reese frame signed LSU jersey with 2 signed pictures, and a Joe Burrow framed signed LSU jersey. The auction ends the last day of the month, October 31st at 6 o'clock, and bidders have to come into the store to place their bids. You can also check them out on Facebook, AJ's Sports Cards 225. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LeBear's hotline. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues as LSU wins it tonight, 62-0 to move to 6-2 on the season. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Charlie is in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
Doing fantastic.
And I want to give you props. AJ's is a great place. Nikki is doing a great job, and you've got a good sponsor there. They're going to do real well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I really are. I just want to put that before I said anything. I'm enjoying listening to you. I didn't even know about Zy Alexander. I was in the Stadium Club and I watched. I didn't even know about that. So that really sad to hear that because he was coming along fine. And I think you made a good point about the Missouri game as in the second half and did what they did to get better. So I really give you props on that too. I'm trying to get your feel for everything. I really don't have much else to say, but other than the fact that what did Charlie Hannegriff, Richard Dixon's gut tell you about 2 weeks from now in Tuscaloosa? I'm hearing that game, maybe a night game on CBS. That's another thing I'm hearing. How do you feel about that? And then I'm just thinking about I know we're going into the future and going into next year. Where do you see everything going? So, I just want to hear what you have to say there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, that's basically that.
Okay. Alabama's vulnerable, but everybody in the league is.
Yeah.
This is really going to come down. There were games where LSU played Alabama. I was like, look, they got to play way over their heads to win. They don't, okay? They've got to play a clean game, and they've got to limit what Alabama does offensively. They can't, have three balls thrown over their head, and if they're down another player in the secondary, that's going to make things harder. But the last 2 weeks, we've watched Alabama dig themselves a 13-point hole against Tennessee. And if you watch the first half of that game, Milton sailed one in the end zone. It should have been an easy touchdown. They should have been up even more. And the week before that, they controlled the game against Arkansas. They were better than 2.5 yards per play better than Arkansas for that entire game. But they let Arkansas hang around, and Arkansas got the ball down 3 points in the fourth quarter. And as we saw today, Arkansas – that was about as bad of an offensive profile. Yeah. That was really shocking to me that they looked as bad as they did. So it's not like LSU's got to go in there and play the game of their life, but they do have to play sharp because Alabama, I said that we were signing off of the pregame show at halftime. They were just about to go into half, and it was going to be 20-7. And I said, Alabama's like the killer in the bad slasher flicks, right? The horror movies, just when you think they're gone, the hand reaches up out of the floor and grabs
every
you,
time.
or from behind the door and grabs you. That's how they are. If you're gonna beat them, you better make sure they're dead, buried, tombstone on the top, and somebody guarding the tombstone. But I don't think LSU's, that they can't win. My guess is that they'll be probably somewhere just south of a touchdown underdog, somewhere around
I'll say 3-7.
5. I was going to say 5 or 6. Alabama ended up covering today, and so did LSU, and I think it was 5 points going into the weekend. So about that.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like the mother of all upsets if they win over there. But you can't go into Tuscaloosa and beat yourself. If you do that, you got no chance.
No, I mean, this is a game that's going to come down to the defense because Alabama's played great in the second half. In the last couple of games where they got down and everybody was like, okay, Alabama's about to lose it. Well, they play a lights-out second half, and they've done it a few times. I mean, would they outscore them today 27-0 in the second half, something like that?
Yeah.
Alabama's playing great in the second half. They're getting better. Milroe is their best option. It's a game where, if I had to say, I mean, I would say Alabama they're going to be the favorite in the game. But I mean, the way our defense has played, we've played not the greatest competition the last 2 weeks, but our defense has gotten better. If they continue to get better and the offense continues to play the way we do, it's going to be a good game.
I feel okay about it. I think it's one of those games that could go either way. So it's not like LSU is going to be a massive underdog. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hello, gentlemen. Mr. Blackwell would be upset. I don't know what it was about, but white trousers after Labor Day, how gauche.
I didn't mind them. I thought they looked okay.
Was there a reason for it?
They usually play some kind of alternate. I don't think it had anything to do with Army. They have played some kind of alternate uniform in the non-conference games for a while now.
Yeah.
They've gone with the old gold. They've gone with white helmets. They've gone with this is the first time I've seen white helmet. I mean white
First
pants,
time I've ever seen it.
white jerseys and gold helmets. I've seen them in the all whites, but this is the
Never
first
with the
time
yellow
I've
helmets.
seen white with gold helmets. So. I don't know. Other than just they do alternate jerseys in the non-conference, alternate uniforms sometimes in the non-conference games.
It could have been better. I mean, I liked it. If they would have matched the stripes on the jersey to the stripes on the pants, it's like they took our last 6 alternate uniforms and mix matched it.
I didn't mind them. I'll let you guys play uniform police. I thought they were fine.
That's okay. Okay, we're 8 games through the season, and if we were talking about basketball, we'd be saying they haven't beaten anybody yet in the net top 50. And then the last thing is I thought Lincoln Riley was supposed to go out and rule football west of the Rockies, but I guess not. So
He didn't play defense at Oklahoma either.
No, but
Right.
Caleb Williams didn't throw a touchdown pass today.
No,
which
he
was,
looked rough.
Surprised. He did have one on the ground, and they gave up just under 500 yards to Utah, who's playing with a has been a backup quarterback all year.
Yeah.
But they fell out of any contention for really.
There's no
there's no big upside to what they got going for them now.
All right, good
Thank
enough,
you, Jules.
fellas.
Appreciate it. 499-9898 is the number on the LeBarge hotline. Joshua is in Baton Rouge. Joshua, welcome into the show.
Thank you, man. Love the show.
Thank
As
you.
always, y'all always have a great show. I know that discussing if Miss Terry needs to manage Nick's hair color or that we need to create a super conference of Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, those stellar matchups is beyond us. So really what I want to ask is LSU last year, this is the point. Last year, LSU did a great job spying Caleb with Perkins. Is LSU going to spy Milroe? Because to me, that's like the key to we're going to score points. So are they going to spy? That to me is the key, is spying Milroe, because Milroe he's not a passer. He's getting by, and that's being generous. But are they going to?
I'm sure.
What do you think the plan is?
All right,
It's not going to be Perkins. Not them playing them in the nickel Sam. You have to move the guy in the box to spy the guy.
You're positive he's not going to spy? I think you're going to show. They're going to show Alabama some different looks, but I do think that there's going to be a spy on him.
There's going to be a spy. I just don't see. As comfortable Perkins has been playing the last few weeks in this role. That's where he's playing is not the spy. I mean, he's not going to be a guy that gets moved back in the box to cover him.
All right, so let me disagree with something that the caller said, because this is something that was true a month ago and no longer is, that Milroe can only hurt you with his feet. Jalen Milroe rushed for 3 yards today, and he threw for 220 and threw a couple of touchdown passes. The last 3 weeks, he's thrown 7 touchdown passes. And the rushing yards, today he rushed for 3 yards. Last week against Arkansas, he rushed for negative 19 yards. I know that's the sack yardage, but he used to be able to overcome the sack yardage, okay? When they played when they played Mississippi State, he rushed for 69 yards, overcame the sack yardage. The last 3 weeks, Jalen Milroe has rushed for negative 47 yards. Yeah. He is not winning games with his feet right now.
With his arm.
He's winning games with his arm.
And the deep ball.
Now, Alabama overall is running the football better,
Yeah.
way better. All of these things that he was saying were all true in September, but no longer are. Okay, McClellan ran for $115 today, and he was a big part of what they did in the second half. I can't tell you that they're never going to put a spy on Milroe, and he can definitely still hurt you with his feet, but that's not how they're winning games right now.
No, and what scares me is when we're talking about Alabama versus LSU is he hits the deep ball well.
He throws as pretty a deep ball as anybody in the game. He puts a lot of air under it. He had a beautiful throw on a post in the first half. It was late in the first half, early second half. That's as pretty a throw as you're going to see. And he bought himself some time, and he stepped up in the pocket, and then he delivered the ball down the field.
He throws the ball 20 yards plus, not better, but as good as anybody in the league.
He's still not anything close to a precision passer in the intermediate zones, but he's better than he was a month ago. He took that bench in the heart, Rich. You got to give the kid credit, because when he went to the bench, I wasn't sure we were ever going to see him play quarterback for Alabama again this year.
Exactly.
He was back 1 week later, and he looks like a different guy now.
Well, you talk about when he got benched, he got beat by Texas, and he had a bad game. They go out the next week against South Florida. They play both the other quarterbacks. They can't do anything done, and they put him back in, and he's played well, and Alabama has progressed ever since they put him back in the game. He throws the deep ball well, and that's the one thing I've talked to a few people about this week. That what scares me the most is LSU covers well. I mean, they really do. They get beat on the deep ball. They're not athletic enough to make a big play on the deep ball. They don't turn their head. They don't break it up. They play the intermediate pass game pretty well. The deep ball is where they get beat. And this is one where I think that if Milroe's on his A game, that's where it causes concern.
They're going to have to show him multiple looks, and I do think that some of those looks will include a spy, and I wouldn't be surprised if that spy was Perkins. But they're going to show him other things. They have to.
They have to. They can't just play straight up. I mean, he's a guy that if you rush his upfield shoulder, he can spring out and get a big run. I mean, so they're going to have to confuse him. They're going to have to keep him uncomfortable, and they got to move him off his spot, because where he throws the deep ball well is when he has time in the pocket. He can get back on his back foot and then just let it go.
You got to be a little bit impressed that a kid can rebuild his confidence midseason the way he did. A lot of players can't come back from a bench. Yes, and it's not just that if you're an offensive lineman or a defensive back and you get benched, it might escape people's attention. When you're the starting quarterback,
they go through two other people before they come back to you,
and you don't
That's
even
tough.
play in that game.
Yeah.
When they took Buckner out and put the freshman in, it's like, we don't even think enough of you right now to put you back in as the backup quarterback. And then a week later, you start rebuilding your confidence and rebuilding your game, and now you're back in pretty good shape to. Well, you do control your own destiny for the SEC championship game. That's impressive.
Did you
to
see
me
his
about the
post-game
kid.
interview today?
I didn't.
He was awesome. The way he handled it, the way he talked, his charisma. Man, it speaks a lot to the kid, the way that he took that benching, came back, played well, and then the way he just handled it. He spoke to the media today like he never got benched. It was impressive.
I didn't see him in the postgame. I was too busy watching Nick and his cigars.
He chews on them. He doesn't smoke them.
Right. You know where you can chew on cigars? Jupiter Island, Florida. Cigar capital of Florida. We'll take a break. 499-9898 is the number to call. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or
advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. Before we go back to the phone lines, 499-9898 is the number to call. If you've been wondering about the Heisman race, it's getting a hell of a jolt right now. Arizona State still leading Washington 7-3 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michael Penix has thrown 2 interceptions. He's 20 of 30, 185 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's fumbled twice, lost 1. Washington can't run the football at all against Arizona State. They've run for less than 20 yards in the game. If Arizona State wins this game, this is going to shake the hell out of the Heisman race, because if you look at what Daniels has done in the 2 losses, okay, he didn't play great against Florida State, but he didn't play terrible. Yeah. He played great against Ole Miss. They just lost.
Yeah.
Anybody that looks at those losses is going to say LSU lost those games because of the defense. If Arizona State pulls this off and they were a 4-touchdown underdog here, if Washington scores 3 points or even 13 points and loses as a 4-touchdown favorite at home and Penix has 3 turnovers, his stranglehold on the favorites role in the Heisman will be gone. It will be a whole new race. If he throws 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter and they pull out the win, they'll probably forgive this a month from now if they go on and win the conference title and all that stuff. But if they lose and he plays like this, game on.
I thought you're asking for more callers to call in, because last week we were talking about everybody, Jaden and the Heisman. Like, oh, well, this week there's a reason to talk about it again.
And there's nothing that Jaden could do tonight. His numbers were fine, and he got out of there after half.
Jaden has played the best quarterback in college football the last 5 weeks. There's nobody I can say played better than him.
Penix was right there with him until tonight. But before this, I think I said this last week, there was nothing that if Penix played at the level he was playing at and Washington ran the table, he was going to win it.
Yeah.
Even if Daniels went to Tuscaloosa and had a huge game, he was going to win it because Washington was undefeated. But if they lose, and especially if they lose as a 4-touchdown favorite, game on.
Well, the first domino was Caleb Williams having a bad game last week.
And he didn't particularly have a good game
Didn't have a game
either.
this week, so he's out. So now you're talking about Penix, Daniels, Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is still right there. Oklahoma survived today. Dylan Gabriel is right there. He did throw an interception today, but I think he threw 3 touchdown passes. It will open things up if Washington loses. Very, very much open things up.
You'll hear a lot more depending on the results in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's where Daniels can make his mark in Tuscaloosa. Absolutely. The LeBears hotline 499-9898 is the number. Jim is in Baker. Jim, welcome into the show.
Hey guys, you're talking about talk about cornerbacks. I did not see Harris tonight.
Us either.
When it was going on with that situation, because now you're down to 2 cornerbacks. Depending on what's going on with Zy Alexander going down with injury, because you had to put a freshman Hughes in there tonight.
Yeah, I don't know where Denver Harris is. We said this earlier in the show.
He plays on odd weekends.
Yeah, I mean, he's 1 week on, 1 week off. I mean, I never know if he's going to play, and they don't really put him on the injury report because he's not injured. He's
that's the
in
one
and
thing
out.
Brian Kelly does something a little bit different. He talks about guys' availability, and then when the game happens, it's like all the people that didn't play were the guys that were not talked about.
Yeah, well, he gives you an injury report, but what about the guys that don't play that are not injured?
Yeah, he doesn't mention that.
Where was Harris? And then I'm not expecting Chestnut. Listen, 2 weeks from now could be Chestnut and Harris for all I know, but I doubt it.
It's not something that we're privy to or that they're leading on to. Nothing's ever said about Harris, and then he won't play 1 week, and nothing will be said. And he'll start the next week. We never know what's going on.
Listen, in 8 weeks, we've seen him start, play as a reserve, dress but not play, and not dress,
and not
travel.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there? I guess he could be inactive, right?
Is it
Chestnut's inactive, whatever the hell that means?
Do they do that like the NFL? You gotta list your actives about an hour before the game.
No, you're not restricted the way they are in the NFL. Jim, I don't have a good answer for you.
No, it's one that
Harris.
we all question.
Yeah. James is in Denham Springs. James, welcome into the show.
Hey, I suppose it would be ahead of myself to ask who we match up better with, Missouri or Georgia, but I do want to ask. Y'all were talking earlier about Milroe and throwing the deep ball. What's our secondary looking like? If y'all could just give a general appraisal of it, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
we don't know who's going to play in the
right.
secondary.
It'd be a lot easier if we knew who was in there. I think look, Sadron has held his own since they moved him up as corner.
He plays well in zone. He doesn't play well in man. He doesn't play man-on-man press coverage deep. I think nobody in our secondary is playing that well in a man coverage. We've played well in the zone the last couple of weeks, but when we do, I didn't see as much cover zero. Like we talked about that. I thought there were going to be a lot of cover zero this week. They didn't play as much. Secondary still, it's up in the air. We don't know because we haven't gone back to a deep passing threat since.
If Zy Alexander is unable to play against Alabama, and this looked at the end of the first half, he couldn't put hardly any weight on it, if any at all. So that doesn't sound good.
No.
Okay, with the ankle there, what they do on the other side of Sage Ryan completely depends on who's available.
Yeah,
I think they've kind of stabilized at safety. Burns has played fine. Sam had 2 picks tonight. So good for him. But I don't. Until I know who's going to play, it's hard to tell. If Alexander can't play against Alabama, that's a major blow.
No, because Zy's come on as our best cover corner.
Yeah,
we have on the group. So we don't know what's going to happen. I would think that you're going to probably see a mix if he's not playing Ashton Stamps and if Harris is available. I mean, that's the big question. I don't ever know if Harris is going to play. We don't know if he's in trouble. He's not. If I knew that he was going to play next week, I'd say I'm not that worried about it. But we don't know who the next guy up is.
It's worrisome.
Yeah.
At this point. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back here with more. LSU wins it tonight, 62-7. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find a suite of driver-focused features tailored to your tastes. But most of all, you'll find luxury that lets you feel infinitely you. Visit your local Infiniti retailer today.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat Check. Presented by Luba. Luba, genuine dependability.
Spoiler alert, LSU dominated the yardstick. First down, 23 for the Tigers, 12 for the Black Knights. Total yards, 570 for LSU, 193 for Army. 369 through the air for LSU, 42 for Army. 201 on the ground for LSU, 151 for Army. It was a 6.1 per rush average for LSU, 3.5 for the Black Knights. Penalties, LSU, 3 penalties for 10 yards tonight. Army, no penalties for no yards. That's got to be a record, right? I can't ever remember a game where since I've been doing this, that both teams combined for 10 yards in penalties.
If I expected no penalties, I expected it to come from Army. Pretty disappointing.
Well, they did, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And LSU had 3 for 10 yards. 4 turnovers for Army and none for LSU. Third down conversions, Army was 4 of 11. LSU was 6 of 10. Army was also 0 of 3 on fourth down, and LSU was 1 for 1. Time of possession, 31-49 for the Black Knights, 28-11 for LSU. Individually, Jaden Daniels, 11 of 15, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Garrett Nussmeier, who played the entire second half, 7 of 12, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Champ Harris, 4 of 9 for 22 yards for Army with 2 picks. Larry Robinson, the backup, was 2 of 6 and also threw an interception. Trey Holly led LSU in rushing tonight, 6 carries for 91 yards, including the 67-yard run. Noah Kane, 7 carries for 40 yards. Logan Diggs, 6 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown. Doesn't bother me at all that he got a lot of the night off tonight.
Yeah,
they're going to need him in
it.
Tuscaloosa for sure. John Emery, 6 carries for 23 yards. Kanye Udo, 21 carries, 108 yards for Army. He led the way, 5.1 yards per carry. Brian Thomas, monster night, 3 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 4 catches, 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. So got to say he had a monster night as well. Josh Williams, a couple of catches for 46 yards, including that 38-yarder when Daniels kind of flipped him the ball. Kind of almost looked like a push pass. It kind of just flipped it forward there. Casey Reynolds, 4 catches for Army for 26 yards. Defensively, Omar Spates led the way tonight for LSU, 9 total tackles. Harold Perkins with 7, including a half a tackle for loss. Jordan Jefferson, D lineman, 6 total tackles tonight, and so did Major Burns. Zy Alexander, 5 tackles in that first half before he had to leave. Casey Larkin with 6 tackles for Army tonight, along with Jimmy Ciaro. Those were the 2 leading tacklers for Army. Damian Ramos made both of his field goals tonight. Jay Bramblett, 1 punt for 41 yards. And Army's punter, Cooper Allen, with 4 punts for a 47-yard average. And that is your yardstick.
Interesting stat line. It seems like a lot of guys got a day off. You had nobody have more than 4 receptions. You had nobody over 7 carries. You didn't have more than 15 pass attempts. I mean, it was just kind of one of those games where you were executed quickly and you didn't have to have a lot of plays.
That's exactly how you would want this box score to look. If you had drawn it up 6 hours ago and said, "What do you want it to look like?"
If
I want it
Logan
to look
Diggs
like
had 21 carries, you'd be like, he didn't need to do that tonight.
I would rather take some miles off the odometer there for him. All right, let's see where we're at here. Arizona State and Washington. It's going to be pass interference. 7-3, Arizona State. We're early in the fourth quarter. We'll come back and get you up to date on all of the scores. We still got, 2 games going live, and we'll get you up to date what happened throughout the day in college football. This is Eagle, 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
98.1.
The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln, on airline into the giant American flag.
Games in progress. Arizona State 7, number 5 Washington 6. The Huskies just kicked a 47-yard field goal. 12:28 to go. But Arizona State, a 4-touchdown underdog, is leading in the fourth quarter in Seattle. Michael Penix has thrown 2 interceptions. He's fumbled twice and lost 1. He has thrown for 213 yards. The other game is still going right now. Number 25 UCLA, no problems with Sanford. 42-7 Bruins. That game is early in the fourth quarter. Earlier finals today. Number 2 Michigan blanked Michigan State 49-0. J.J. McCarthy with 4 touchdown passes for the Wolverines. Number 3 Ohio State beat number 7 Penn State 20-12. Kyle McCord threw for 286 and a touchdown. Big play in this ball game. In the first half, Penn State had a sack with a fumble, and they scooped and scored it 58 yards for the touchdown. They called defensive holding in the secondary.
Oh, that's
so
ugly.
Instead of the lead, Penn State had to play defense from their own 16-yard line. So it was literally a 14-point
That swung the game right there.
Ohio State would score a touchdown on that drive, and they would win this thing by a score of 20-12. Number 4, Florida State broke open a close game in the fourth quarter. They beat number 16 Duke 38-20. Florida State trailed 20-17 at the half. Jordan Travis threw a couple of touchdown passes. Riley Leonard did play in this game. He started and played deep into the second half, but I didn't see the very end of the game, but I did see when he almost got his head ripped off with that face mask, and they hit him low as well. So he was limping at that point, and Florida State dominated the fourth quarter. Number 6 Oklahoma survived 31-29 against Central Florida. Dylan Gabriel threw 3 touchdown passes. He did throw an interception. Oklahoma turned away a 2-point conversion that would have tied it with about a minute to go. Speaking of holding on, number 8 Texas beat Houston 31-24. Houston had the ball at the Texas 10-yard line with a minute to go before the Longhorns were able to get the ball back and hold on. Number 9 Oregon beat Washington State 38-24 despite 438 yards through the air for Cam Ward. Don't know where this was for Washington State last week when they scored 6 points against Arizona when they turned the ball over 5 times.
Cost some money.
They're better today, but not good enough. Number 10, North Carolina loses for the first time. Virginia, also a huge underdog. They were a 24-point underdog. They win 31-27 over North Carolina. Drake May threw for 347 yards and a couple of touchdowns in a losing effort. Number 11, Alabama, trailing 20-7 at the half, came back to beat number 17 Tennessee 34-20, won the second half 27-0. Josh McClellan ran for 115 yards and a touchdown for Alabama. Number 13 Ole Miss beat Auburn 28-21. Jackson Dart threw a touchdown pass. Quinshon Judkins ran for 124 yards and a score for Ole Miss. Number 14 Utah beat number 18 USC 34-32. Just under 500 yards of total offense for the Utes. Caleb Williams threw for 256 yards. He did not throw a touchdown pass. He did run one in for the Trojans. Number 20 Missouri ran their record to 7-1 with a 34-12 victory over South Carolina. Who's that loss for Missouri to? LSU. Looks a lot better now. That win's looking a lot better. Number 22 Air Force beat Navy 17-6. The starting quarterback for Air Force, Zach Larrier, was not supposed to play in this game. Guess what? He did. Threw for 151 yards and a touchdown. Number 23 Tulane ran their record to 6-1. They beat North Texas 35-28. They led this 21-0 at the half and withstood a big North Texas comeback in the second half. Number 24 Iowa falls to Minnesota 12-10. Here's how Iowa lost this thing. About 2 minutes to go, they run a punt back for a touchdown. They call it back because the returner signaled for a fair catch inadvertently, and they called it back. Iowa threw an interception later in the drive, and Minnesota held on.
Did the under hit again? Isn't there like a big streak with Iowa?
12-10.
Yeah, and I thought it got down to like 30 was the over-under.
30.5, and they still went under that. Ugliest game of the day, at least that I saw. Mississippi State beat Texas 7-3. KJ Jefferson was just completely out of sorts today. He only threw for 97 yards. He had an interception. Michael Wright, who was subbing for Will Rogers, Wright's the former starting quarterback at Vanderbilt, was the only offensive highlight at all. He ran for 60 yards for Mississippi State. Rutgers beat Indiana 31-14. Scarlet Knights are now bowl eligible. Boston College beat Georgia Tech 38-23. Baylor hung on and beat Cincinnati 32-29. Cincinnati had 15 points in the fourth quarter. Memphis beat UAB 45-21. It was Ohio over Western Michigan 20-17. Charlotte beat East Carolina 10-7. It was Georgia Southern over UL Monroe 38-28. Bowling Green beat Akron 41-14. Wisconsin over Illinois 25-21. Wisconsin scored 18 points in the fourth quarter unanswered. That's their biggest comeback since, well, a long time. I forgot the stat, but it's been a while. Nebraska beat Northwestern 17-9. They are over 500 now in Lincoln. South Florida beat UConn 24-21. Wake Forest with a touchdown inside of 15 seconds to beat Pittsburgh 21-17. Oklahoma State with a win in Morgantown. They beat West Virginia 48-34. Mike Gundy, okay, never had a losing season. He's been there since he took over for Les Miles at Oklahoma State. Right, 40, except now he's like 50-something. Yeah. They were 2-2. They had lost 33-7 to South Alabama. Okay, things look like it's finally 5-2. 3-1 in the Big 12.
Look, he's a good coach.
He's a good coach. That's all you can say. Ball State beat Central Michigan 24-17. Northern Illinois over Eastern Michigan 20-13. Buffalo beat Kent State 24-6. It was Toledo over Miami of Ohio 21-7. Rockets in the driver's seat in the MAC. UTSA 36, Florida Atlantic 10. It was New Mexico over Hawaii 42-21. BYU beat Texas Tech 27-14. Kansas State pounded TCU 41-3. Old Dominion over App State 28-21. Coastal Carolina beat Arkansas State 27-17. UNLV a late field goal to beat Colorado State 25-23. San Jose State, by the way, UNLV 6-1 now, which is their best record in quite some time. Barry Odom, former Missouri coach, head coach at UNLV. San Jose State beat Utah State 42-21. It was Miami over Clemson 28-20. That was in double overtime. Clemson now 4-3 on the season. Georgia State beat UL Lafayette 20-17. Cajuns had the ball inside the 10-yard line, inside of 20 seconds to go. Third down and 4. They had a chip shot field goal to tie it, but on third down, they threw Zach Chris threw an interception. and Georgia State was able to run out the clock. And Nevada beat San Diego State. Shame we didn't see this one, Rich, because it might have been worse than the one that we saw between Arkansas and Mississippi State. 1-6 Nevada got their first win of the season over San Diego State, 6-0. Okay, so I'm not
If
not
this
at
game,
all
if
sorry.
the Washington game ends up 7-6, it might be the 3 lowest scoring games we've seen.
Yeah,
in a
but
long
I'm
time.
kind of okay with this one ending up 7-6. And Southern University beat Bethune-Cookman 28-18 in Jacksonville, Florida. Jaguars now 4-3 on the season and 3-1 in SWAC play, and that is your college football scoreboard. Still 7-6, under 9 minutes to go. Game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find a suite of driver-focused features tailored to your tastes. But most of all, you'll find luxury that lets you feel infinitely you. Visit your local Infiniti retailer today.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game balls. Game balls.
Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
All right, Rich, you first.
I'm going to go Jordan Jefferson. Had a great game. And if I had to give it a second one, I'd go Trey Holly. He had an exciting run.
He did. Jordan Jefferson, 6 total tackles tonight, which was 3rd on the team. He also had a tackle for loss. And Trey Holly, 6 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown, 67-yarder. So he did had a very, very nice game. I'm going to go with Andre Sam. Had 2 interceptions tonight. Good for him. And, Zy Alexander had 5 tackles tonight and a half of football. And we're hoping for the best, but it was a scary-looking injury, especially, given that he wasn't able to really put much, if any, weight on it at that. Listen, it's 2 full weeks, so we'll see. Not going to jump to any conclusions on, his availability or anything like that, but it didn't.
It didn't look good.
It didn't look great, so we'll see with him.
Terrible timing because he's really come on lately. He's been our leader in the secondary. That's one that we're going to be really paying attention to.
Brian Kelly following the 62-0 win over Army.
What a great night at Tiger Stadium. Certainly the victory, we're excited about it. I told our guys earlier in the week, this game, there's no shortcuts. You get what you deserve. The work you put in, regardless of who your opponent is necessary to achieve the things that you want. And for us, it was about how do we get better. And defensively, we've been on this, upward trajectory of working to get better each and every week. I thought we reached that again this week. And then offensively, again, I think this is the 7th week in a row. Or is it 6th or 7th? 7th consecutive week where we've reached a plateau of 500 yards or more. So, consistency of performance on the offensive side of the ball, and then continue to make that improvement necessary to have a team that can compete for an SEC championship. That was the goal coming in this year. We ran into a couple of rough spots as we were moving through the schedule, but I'm really proud of the way our guys have responded to some adversity and have put themselves in a really good position to, again, with 4 games remaining, be in the thick of the SEC race. So.
Brian Kelly following the 62-0 win. LSU, even with the loss to Ole Miss, is in the driver's seat if they can beat Alabama.
He just made me depressed.
Why?
4 games left in the season. Football happens so fast. We wait all year for this. And we're in the middle of it. He's like, oh, yeah, there's 4 games left in the season.
You get 13 weeks.
Yeah.
You get 13 weeks. But, hey, we're working on that, okay?
Yeah.
So week 0 is going to be like a permanent
We've been
thing.
pushing for that for a long time.
And when the playoffs go to 12 teams next year, you're going to have not just the bowl games, but you're going to have real playoff games in the month of December. So
I feel like we're just getting started, and him saying 4 games left in the season made me upset.
Tell you what, next week you can watch all the games because LSU's on break.
I think my wife's going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea. Mine is too. Okay, we got to talk about this decision that Arizona State makes. They're on the 12-yard line going in. They're leading 7-6, 4th and 3. They decide to go for it, okay? We both
mentioned
here
the play
goes
before was a pass interference.
It was
Bad
a
call.
Blatant pass interference.
Yeah.
I mean, he almost ripped the guy's jersey off his shoulder pads right in front of the official who didn't call it. So 4th down and 3, you're up a point, 8 minutes and, 8:30 to go. What do you do? A 29-yard field goal. You figure you're going to make that.
Go up 4.
Yeah, and you force Washington to score a touchdown. They went for it, threw an 85-yard pick six.
That's just what was going to happen. We were waiting for Washington to lose.
Okay. So Arizona State's got the ball back with a little over 7 minutes to go. There's a ton of time left in this game, but
nobody's
moving
the ball.
To say that the momentum swung, it's
Yeah.
3rd and 15 for Arizona State. To say that the momentum swung would be an understatement. I get it. You're
Swung by 85 yards and 10 points.
You're trying to put the game away right there, but man, don't you? The way Washington's offense has sputtered all night, don't you want to force them to make a play? I mean, this is not like last week's game where they were going up and down the field with Oregon.
That's a scared move by the coach. He thinks they got him in a spot to where he can score one more time. They're done. but he still has that fear of knowing what Washington can do on offense. I mean, that was a scared move by the coach.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. All right. They stop them 3-and-out. Washington's going to get the ball back. And they have a 5-point lead now with 7 minutes to go. Still doesn't, the Penix has still had a very poor game by his standards, but to really, really shake up the Heisman race, they would have had to lose, and now Arizona State's got an uphill climb.
Yeah.
We'll come back and wrap things up here when we come back here, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find a suite of driver-focused features tailored to your tastes. But most of all, you'll find luxury that lets you feel infinitely you. Visit your local Infiniti retailer today.
His name was King. He had a horse.
98.1.
All right, Washington may have weathered the storm here. 5 minutes to go.
Dang it.
Huskies leading it 12-7, and they are inside the 30-yard line of Arizona State now. Touchdown here would pretty much put it out of reach, and Michael Penix all of a sudden looks like Michael Penix again. not the guy that has struggled through most of this game, but the guy that was the Heisman Trophy favorite going into the weekend. They run a little middle screen, and that's going to put them down just outside the 10. Okay, break time for LSU, and it comes at a good spot. Always thought that, somewhere toward the end of October was perfect. LSU's had the same spot for the break for a while now. Everybody's ready for one, the players, the coaches, the media. Everybody's ready for a break. So we'll enjoy next weekend of college football as the Tigers take off. So there'll be no Brian Kelly, almost said Les Miles. No, you were talking about Les Miles during the break. No Brian Kelly press conference on Monday during the off week. No Brian Kelly coaches show on Thursday during the off week. So Live at Lunch will be at its normal time on Monday at 11 o'clock. We'll find out time for the Alabama game on Monday. I would be shocked if it is not the primetime game at 7 o'clock on CBS. We'll find out for sure on Monday. Final score, once again, LSU 62 and Army nothing as the Tigers go to 6-2 on the season. From all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good night. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.